Hi, I'm Dan Lak. I'm the king of high-ticket sales, and I am one of the passionate few. I just
sit down with the king of high-ticket sales himself, Mr. Dan Lak. Thanks for being on the show today, Dan.
thank you for having me. I feel like such a beautiful day. I feel like we're almost like on a date or something on a bench. I love this.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for being here today.
You're welcome.
So let's get right into it. A lot of people know about what you've done online, you know, the king of high-ticket sales and serving businesses and clients all over the world.
Correct.
Where did you get this? Where was the seed planted? Where did you grow up, and sort of what was your childhood like growing up?
Well, I was born in Hong Kong, right? So I immigrated to Canada when I was 14 years old with no money, no connections, and couldn't speak a word of English. So you can see even when still today, I speak with an accent, a little bit of an accent. So my mom and dad, because they were having some issues, and so my mom decided that she didn't want to stay in the relationship. That's why we immigrated to Canada. And at the time I was so young, I was kind of like a punk kid.
Yeah.
I had no direction.
Yeah.
I was getting into fights and hanging around with the wrong gang of people, and just always getting into trouble.
Right.
And so my mom and dad got divorced when I was 16 years old. And then shortly after that, my dad went bankrupt in Hong Kong. He basically, his business partner took all his money and disappeared. And my dad signed everything as a guarantor, right?
Yeah.
Guarantees
Oh,
on it.
man.
So left him about $1 million US in debt. And that wiped him out. Not just financially, but emotionally.
And you were living with him at the time?
I was living with my mom. My
Gotcha.
dad is in Hong Kong. And then I still always remember that phone call. At the time I was going to school. One day, at the time, my mom and we were living in a one-bedroom apartment. Okay, in one of the worst neighborhoods in Vancouver.
Wow.
So I remember my mom would stay in the bedroom. I would sleep in the living room, right? So on the floor, basically. I remember one day after school, I went home. Door was locked. And I knocked on my mom's door. She was on the phone with somebody. I didn't know who, but I heard that she was crying on the phone. And I was like, "Hey, mom, is everything okay?" I was like, "Oh, no, everything's okay. Don't worry about it." And afterwards, basically, I found out that she was on the phone with my dad. And my dad basically told my mom he went bankrupt. He couldn't send us money anymore. Because at first he was sending us some allowance, right? And my mom is a very, very positive, happy person. Like she's like one of those people that she's friends with everybody. Like has no enemies, right? Just a sweet person. So, and I'll never forget the face of my mom. Like that facial expression, just so hopeless. And she was like, "Now what I'm gonna do? I've been a housewife all my life. How am I gonna raise this kid with no money, with a little bit of savings?"
And she wasn't working at that time?
No.
And you're 16 at this time as well?
Yeah, 16, 17 about, 17. And from then on, I said to myself, I don't care what the fuck I have to do. I don't want to see that face on my mom anymore.
Yeah.
That I don't care what it takes. I don't care how hard I have to work. that's, I think, the turning point. It planted a seed
Right.
where I know that as a man, we want to provide for the family.
Of course.
And we want to, but I think as a man, we cannot protect the people that we love if we don't have the resources.
Right.
It could be financial, but if we don't have the resources. And that's when I made a decision, I'm going to be successful, because unless I'm successful, I cannot provide for the people that I love. I cannot protect the people I love. And that was it. From then on, I was the only child, and that's when I started my first business, very, very early on, right?
What was your first business at that time?
I would just like mowing lawns for people in my neighborhood.
So you would just knock on their door and say, hey.
Now, one day I was jogging around in the worst neighborhood again, jogging in the neighborhood.
Right.
And I saw an older gentleman, and he was just like, he must be in his 70s or something. And he was like mowing the lawn like this, like very, very slow.
Yeah.
And I was a young
So you
guy.
saw opportunity.
No, I was just, hey, how about I just help you? I wasn't thinking about anything. So I helped him mow the lawn, and right afterwards, he poured $20 and gave it to me. Light bulb went. I was like, okay, maybe I can make some money doing this,
yeah.
right? And that gave me the inspiration. And here's what's interesting. So I had no money. So I thought, what if I do this for other people? Maybe I can make some money on the side. But I had no money. I didn't even have the money for the lawnmower.
Yeah.
So I talked to this older gentleman, and I said, why can I borrow your machine? Because I know I can see the machine is brand new, right? Like maybe it costs like $1,000. To me, that at the time was a lot of money.
It was like $1 million.
It was like $1 million, right? So I asked him, well, can I borrow your machine? And in return, I would take care of the machine. I would add the gas and take care of everything, the blade and maintenance. I'll mow your lawn every single week for free, once a week. And I remember he said, you know what? I can't move this damn thing anyway. What the heck, young man? Go ahead and use it.
Yeah.
And that's how I got my little machine. And then
First side hustle going,
like working a no money down deal, right? So I was knocking on door and mowing lawns. We made a few $100 here and there, but that's my first taste of entrepreneurship.
How much were you charging at that time?
It was like $10, $20. No, he's funny. He was funny story. So I was knocking on door, and no one, like I was knocking, hey, do you want me to mow your lawn? Oh, no, we don't need that. We don't need that shit.
Yeah.
At the time, my mom had a friend, my aunt. She had a printing business, right? Like, printing business card and flyers and all that. So I went to my aunt and said, hey, aunt, why don't, you print a bunch of flyers? I will help you distribute in the neighborhood, like printing service. But yeah, there are two sides to a flyer, right? Right? I said, you print 5,000 of these, I'll run around, I'll distribute it. On the other side, can I put my stuff on it? Right?
Yeah, my lawn mowing services,
It's just like, what the heck, right?
Yeah.
And so I've been always very entrepreneurial.
Yeah, you know how to, be resourceful in the situation.
win-win, right?
Yeah. Because a lot of people wouldn't have even tried that, because they'll say, well, I don't have the money for a lawnmower, I don't have any of that. So
that stopped them, right?
Yeah, it's a good proof right there that it's not about what you have, it's about what you do with what you have.
100%.
And you were exuding that even at a young age.
It's never lack of resources. I think it's a lack of resourcefulness, right? And I was just resourceful. I had no money, so I had time. I can put in effort, and I distribute all 500 flyers. I ran home, and I was just waiting for the phone. I thought I'm gonna get rich.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my God, 5,000 people. Oh my God, I'm gonna get 100 phone call. Oh, I'm gonna block my time. I'm still going to school. I thought I'm gonna make like thousands of dollars, right?
Right.
1 hour, no call. 1 day, no call. 3 days, not a single one. I was checking the fly. Shit, did I put in the wrong number?
Right.
No, it was the right number, right? Not a single phone call from the flyer,
Wow.
right? And I learned, okay, there's something that you can have a great product, a great service, but if you don't know how to get it out there, do marketing and get people to pay attention, no one's gonna buy from you. So I came with an idea. I thought to myself, and this affected my philosophy for the rest of my life, my business philosophy. So I think back, the very first client I had who paid me $20. What did I do? I mowed the lawn first before asking anything in return. That's how I got that first $20, right?
Right, yeah.
I thought, let me do that again. So I ran around the neighborhood and I found probably one of the higher end expensive homes in the neighborhood. And I saw the lawn was like up to this high, like high. And I just found a day and I just mowed the entire thing. Now this is illegal. You're not supposed to do that. I'm not an advocate of that, but I did that.
So you didn't even knock on their door?
No, I just mowed the whole lawn, right? I did the whole thing.
Right.
And I finished the whole thing, and I sat at the front door waiting for the homeowner to come back. Okay, it's funny, it's a housewife. She came back, and she couldn't recognize her lawn, because it's this lawn.
Right, yeah.
She drove by, and then she drove back, and she pulled, what the hell is going on, right?
Right.
And she's like, who are you? I said, I'm just a kid. I'm trying to make some money. I provide these services, I fly. Oh, this is awesome. My husband travels all the time. He's never home. I can't do this stuff. Thank you so much. You make my lawn look so nice. She gave me $100.
Wow.
$100, right? And that affected me for the rest of my life. So my business philosophy until this very day, if you say one of my motto for business, add value first before you ask anything in return. That's how I always approach. You know how most business people, they approach somebody, they want to sell them some shit, right? Or they want to, hey man, you do something for me, or like, on social media, people come to me all the time, or they feel like just because I'm successful, that I'm obligated to help them.
Right, you can so easily will just give them handouts.
That's not the case. They got to earn it. So my philosophy is any interaction with people, how can I add value to what you do? It's always my most favorite question is this: what is the most important project you're working on that I can add value to?
Yeah, because it goes straight to the source of what matters. Yeah.
I don't care who I meet, lunch, dinner, someone I don't know, someone I do, always. Hey, what are you working on? What's the most important project? Maybe I could help you. Maybe I know somebody that could help you. I very much believe in the whole concept of the relational capital, which is much more powerful than capital. Because money, you can get money from the bank, you can get money from anywhere, but relational capital, especially nowadays, I'm sure, Omar, you've experienced this. One contact, one phone call, one conversation
change it all.
could change it all. Just one contact.
Social currency, they call it.
100%, 100%. So, and it affected me. And then from then on, of course, we can talk about that, how I went from, making a little bit of money to where I'm today, right?
So after the lawn mowing service, what's the next line of business? Because obviously that you realize, okay, this isn't going to get me to the $1 million.
No.
So what was the series along the way? What were some of the failures?
No, but it didn't. I tried so many. I tried like vending machines. I tried like network marketing. I tried fixing computers for people. We tried delivery service. All kinds of, I was just a young guy. I thought anything that even sounds like remotely I could make money doing, that I would jump into, which is very dumb because I had no business acumen. But I failed at so many businesses. I failed at 13 businesses.
13?
13.
Wow.
Before having what I quote unquote success, right?
So from 17 to what age did all
that
those
was like
businesses
within 3 years.
So 3 years, 13 businesses,
13, all kinds of
all
ideas.
losses.
All losses.
Or lessons,
No, all losses. It's
Major
fucking losses.
L's, yeah.
It was. And it maxed out my credit card. I lost all my mom's savings.
I heard that at one point too, you're almost over $100,000 in debt. $150,000.
$150,000 in debt.
And how old were you at that time?
20.
20 years old?
20 years old.
And that was just different loans from your mom, credit cards,
relatives. And my relatives, they wouldn't take my call anymore. I just borrowed from everybody that I could.
Did you burn a lot of bridges at that time too?
I did. But I always promised them that just give me one more chance.
Right.
Let me try harder. And they believe in me, but they always thought I was kind of the odd one in the family. It's like, why don't you just go get a job or do something like what normal people do?
Safe.
Yeah, safe and do something. Like, why do you have to have these crazy ideas? Here's another idea of the mind, right? And I just told them, hey, listen, if I were just to go get a job with I don't even have a college degree or anything like that, I would be making minimum wage. Listen, I'm now $150,000 in debt. If I was making minimum wage, it would take me forever to pay you off, to pay you back, and pay off all this debt, and to provide for my mom. So, like, people always look at what I do, say, oh, you must be so motivated, Dan. It's not fucking motivation. It was desperation. I had no choice.
Do you think that was the case, that you were so maybe beat down by that debt that you just figured, fuck, I have to figure this out now. I can't afford to fail one more time. So you would say that pressure is almost what gave you the creativity to make it work? Or like, how important was that to actually making things really start go on the upswing for you?
I think it was I had no choice. I wasn't even thinking about. It's like kind of you die hard, you keep trying. Like you got to. I just had no choice. It wasn't. Well, let me maybe go with the safe route. That's not an option because that is just not an option. So I had to figure this out, right?
What did you do differently that 14th time versus the 13th time?
It's when I found my first mentor. That changed everything. So I said that's also why I'm such a big proponent of having a mentor.
Absolutely.
That because before that I tried most things like most people. I read the success books and going to
Think and Grow
seminars
Rich.
and Think and Grow Rich and How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Right.
You know, back and forth many times. Like all these books, and you know, I would get up in the morning and I would look in the mirror and say, I'm successful and it's gonna be a great day.
Affirmation,
and I would visualize. I did all this
meditate,
shit. Meditate and put vision board. I did all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, yes, you know, all this stuff, right? So it was okay. I think all those things they help, but really the turning point was when I found my first mentor. His name is Alan. And at the time, Alan he ran one of he was the founder of a RING, Real Estate Investment Network in Canada, which was at the time one of the largest real estate investment network in Canada. And
how did you find him?
Good question.
Because I want to ask you that because there might be somebody listening to this or watching this that might be on their 12th or 13th failure, right at that turning point. So to somebody sitting there and kind of confused, how did you find your mentor and what would be your recommendation?
I'll tell you how I found my mentor, and I'll give them the advice of where to find. So at the time, I was just like an opportunity junkie.
Right.
I had no money, so I would attend these like free seminars, and I would get on these like mailing lists, right? And Alan was running one of the largest financial seminar companies in Canada. He was the first one that brought Robert Kiyosaki to Canada.
From Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki.
Before even Kiyosaki was famous. He was the first guy. So I was getting all these junk mails, direct mail, like not Instagram, not Facebook, direct mail, right?
Yeah.
And I would always be fascinated by the way that he would write these sales letters.
Right.
And I would collect them. I would collect them, put in 3-0 punch them, put them in a binder, and I would save them and I would study them. I was just fascinated by the way he communicates, right?
So the copywriting on
Copywriting. And I remember the name Alan Jacks, right? That's his name. And at one time I was attending a free conference. I was sitting in the back, and I was watching the speaker. A gentleman sat down next to me and was watching the speaker, was looking at you. I was like, I noticed a name tag.
Yeah.
It says Alan Jacks.
Wow.
And I thought, no fucking way.
Yeah.
No way. And I said, are you Alan Jacks? He said, yes. I said, are you the one that's hosting these events and writing these letters? And it's like, yes. He said, I am. I'm like, holy fuck, right? Holy shit. That's my internal dialogue. I try to be calm.
Right.
I said, holy fuck. I said, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Like, I love what you do. And he thought I was referring to the event. I was like, yeah, you know, we do pretty good events. I said, no. I study your letters.
Yeah.
I said, I collect them. I tell him I collect these letters. And he was shocked because I don't think he's ever had anyone telling him that.
Right.
Like a young guy, 21 years old, like talking
fanning
about
out on the copywriting.
Yeah, collecting the junk mail. And I was just fascinated. I said, Mr. Jacks, I said, can I buy you lunch? And I always remember the reply. He paused. He said, what the hell, I gotta eat.
Yeah.
That was the start of a relationship.
Wow.
And we had lunch, we talked for hours. And then afterwards, I asked him to be my mentor, which he turned me down. And I was, again, not recommending this. I was basically stalking him in his office. Right? I went to his office every fucking day, every day.
So you would physically go there?
I would go to the office, I would say anything, I would pick up the trash, anything.
Yeah.
I would just demonstrating, I want to help, anything.
Yeah.
I don't care about money, I don't want a salary, I don't want anything. And finally a month later, they said, okay, I just need to hire you, just so this is bothering me so much, right? He's bothering my staff, fine, like this young man is like crazy, right? And he did, and I worked for him for almost for a year for next to nothing.
Wow.
And I was, funny story. So we were doing a lot of direct mail, right? So we stuffed these envelopes, and I would help stuff the envelopes. And you know the envelope, the stamps, and I would lick the envelope.
Right.
And I would put after about 2 weeks of that, he said, Dan, you can actually use water for that. I was so dumb. I was getting poisoned, like licking 500 envelopes like that and put the whole thing in. But that's how I got started.
Right.
That's like how naive I was. But I was just hungry.
How old were you at that time?
21.
Okay.
21.
And let me go back to that moment where you asked him to lunch. Was it a little bit scary? Were you in your head like, should I not? Because I think a lot of people might get to the point where they're sitting next to an opportunity, but you pulled the trigger on it. Can you talk a little bit about what was going on in your mind?
I wasn't nervous. I was just like so happy that I kind of, it's like you meeting your favorite, celebrity or something like that, right? And I was too dumb to be scared.
Yeah.
And I was just, hey, can I buy your lunch?
Yeah.
And that was it. I still remember. But even when we go to lunch, I told him like very strict, say, Helen, actually, I want to buy lunch, but I don't have a lot of money. So I could afford the burger, but if you want like something expensive, I could. He loves it.
Wow.
He just loves like how transparent I was as a young man.
Yeah.
And still to this day, after all these years, he's still my mentor. We still talk.
Incredible.
Actually, I'm doing a big event in October. He's going to be one of my speakers.
Wow. To think that you were in the back of that room and now he's speaking.
And not only that, because Alan, later on in life, he was actually suffered by Parkinson's disease. So he lost his ability to work. And he was healthy, was not well. Genius, but he's not well. Being able to now having him come back and kind of giving back to him, I actually paid him a very hefty speaking fee. He would speak for free, but I gave him a speaking fee just to, help him what he did for me. And now all these years. So that's the kind of, maybe it's because maybe it's Chinese, it's a culture. Because I think a lot of people, they misunderstood the word mentor.
Right.
Like to me, if you go and see online, you watch some videos, that's not a mentor-mentee relationship, right?
What is a mentor?
I much more prefer the word sifu. You see a lot of them, they call me sifu. In Chinese, it means mentor. It means, in Japanese, it's sensei. I think it's a one-on-one, more lifetime relationship. I have a martial art background, as you know, that you think about back in ancient time, when someone was teaching martial art, it's an inner circle, private door, closed door. I transfer my lifetime skill to you. That's a mentor-mentee relationship. It's not, hey, watch some fucking videos and I'm your mentor. To me, that's not it.
Right.
That is learning, but mentor is someone, it goes way, way deeper than that.
Yeah.
I think it's not a transactional relationship. It's not even to go to an event, you watch the guy for 3 days. I think it's a transformational relationship. That someone can impact you in a very deep way. That's a mentor relationship. And that's why all these years, they're still my mentors, right?
So after that mentorship with Alan, what happens in you to where you start scaling it? Is that when you get into copywriting, or what happens?
Yeah, so right after I've worked for him for 1 year, and at the time, at first I was doing office work. Later on, he was asking me to kind of edit some of his copy.
Right.
And later on, as I got better, and he would say, have me write it. I remember the first time I wrote a letter for him.
Yeah.
But he was teaching me.
Right.
In that kind of way. And I wrote a letter to him. I said, hey, Alan, I spent like weeks crafting this piece. I gave it to him. He looked at it for like seconds. He crumbled and said, this is shit. He said, do it again.
Oh, man.
He said, do it again. And I was devastated.
Yeah.
Because
took it personally.
It's very personally. And then I said, go back to, fuck. And then a week later, I brought it back to him. He looked at it a few seconds. Come on, this is shit. I said, it cannot be shit. I said, I've looked at it, I've crafted the headline, I've crafted the copy. I said, I've done the best that I could. Believe me. He said, try again. Third time, I looked at it. I'm like, burn a bit midnight oil. I went to him. He looked at it a little bit longer this time. He said, it is still shit. I said, no, there's no fucking way it's shit.
Yeah.
Seriously, I said, I've done everything I possibly could. This is the best thing that I could have ever written. Trust me, it's my best work, right? He said, go back. Finally, he's back and forth many times. Probably, I think it's 6 or 7 times. And
you're not losing interest at this time? It's intensifying your motivation?
No, because I have so much respect to him, right? So whatever he asked me to do. And here's the thing, when you find a mentor, listen to the fucking mentor, right? Don't just oh yeah, you're my mentor, but I tell you to do something that you don't listen, and that's kind of dumb, right?
Yeah.
At the time, it was just, okay, whatever you need. But I gave my very best, but he was still not happy. I think 6 or 7 times, look at his piece. This is pretty good.
Ooh, nice.
And then later on, this is like later on, many years later, we had a conversation. He said, actually, the first piece was pretty good.
Wow.
But he said, I need to challenge you. You thought you've given your best, that's not your best. Second time you thought that was your best, that was not your best. Now what is your best compared to what you thought was your best, there's a gap. He said, that's how you get better. Most people will be happy with this. That's not how you become a master marketer, right? You got to get to this.
And had you not had the humility and had a big ego about it, right, like you were saying, then you wouldn't have got to that level of being pushed.
And guess what? All these years, Alan only had one mentee. That's me. That was it. He's never trained anybody else.
It's powerful.
Right.
So from that point forward, he accepts it, and then what happens?
And then so later on, right after, then I started my own one-man advertising agency, kind of like the Mad Men, you know, show?
Right, yeah.
Without all the glamour and stuff. It's just like me working and writing shit, right? So I started my one-man advertising agency, and I was working with clients. I was charging them like $500, $1,000 to write these materials. And as I learned, learn how to do better, communicate better, asking for more money. And that's how I kind of I had a first little bit insight on high ticket sales. I noticed that to charge, it doesn't take you more effort to sell something for $500 versus $5,000. In some cases, it takes less effort. And that's when I first learned about that, working with clients as I kept increasing my fee, and still it's because of Alan, not because of me.
Right.
Because I was charging $1,000 to work with clients, and then I was again having a conversation with him. He said, you should charge more, Dan. Like I only been doing this for a few months, right? You should bump your price. Like what? Like 10%? I think $1,100. That's pretty good. 10% seems to be reasonable.
Right.
He said no. Double it. So what the fuck? Like double it? Like it's such a foreign concept. I can't double it. I've been only doing it for a few months. I'm like a 21-year-old kid with like speaking with an accent. I can't double my price. He said, just double it. I said, okay. And by the way, practice in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
You got to practice how to ask for money, right?
So you would do that?
And I would look in the mirror and say, how much you charge? And I would say, $2,000, right? Yeah. I try not to laugh, and until I can do it with a strict face, right? And I did that, and then after a couple months later, and then by the way, after I increased my price $2,000, right? The very next prospect I was talking to asked me how much I charge. I said $2,000. I've been practicing, right? There was no issue.
Yeah, no pushback.
No pushback, nothing, just $2,000. Well, holy fuck, this works.
Right.
And then a few months later, I talked to Alan.
Double it.
He said, Dan, double it. It's no fucking way.
It can't be that easy.
No, you're insane. Like 2,000 to 4. No, I said, oh my God, I'm gonna lose all my clients.
Right.
I'm not gonna be able to pay the bills. Oh my God, it's like all this scarcity kicks in, right? Did that, same thing happened. I asked for 4,000, no pushback, nothing.
Wow.
Right.
And so you start seeing what's possible
now. What's possible now, and then I did the same thing again a few months, $8,000 to $10,000. So within a year, from $1,000 I was charging, now I'm charging $10,000 with one client for the same amount of work. That blew my mind.
Did you have limiting beliefs at that time? Because I think a lot of people who might be in a specialty service might be encountering that, right? Where they know they have great value. Can you talk a little bit about the limiting beliefs in your mind at that time?
Limiting belief, scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
But I was just listening to my mentor.
Right.
Because he believed in my value more than I believe in my value.
Right.
Because he knows I train you. I know what you can do. I didn't know. I was just writing copy. But he believed in me. Then he asked me to do it. But here's the thing. After I've done it a few times, that becomes my new identity.
Right.
Now
becomes your normal.
I'm not the $1,000 guy anymore. I'm the $10,000 guy within a year. Now, if he didn't push me, would I have done it? Hell no. So yeah, no belief, nothing at all. And that's why don't underestimate the power in your life, having someone believe in you, that when you don't even believe in yourself and say, you know what, you can do this. Oh my, you can do this. You can be bigger, you can do more, you can reach more people. Okay, I guess I could.
Yeah.
And you try it, oh shit, this works.
Yeah.
And that more and more and more. And then of course I met my second mentor then later on, which is Dan Penny, the $50 billion man.
Yes.
I have so many stories I could share.
Famous Dan Penny.
Yeah, I could share so many stories.
So how did you meet Dan?
Okay, so after I was making about $10,000 a month as a cop, as a young guy, 21,
So
22.
at your peak, your copy services are $10,000.
$10,000. And I was working one client, couple clients per month, making, good money. As a young guy,
Especially, yeah.
six figure, I was like...
Especially coming back from $150,000 in debt.
I felt a rich man. I felt like I'm
yeah.
a rich man, right?
And hello to your relatives, right? 'Cause
I always see I knew you're gonna make it, right?
Yeah.
That. So from there, making good money, with $10,000 a month. And you could say it's a little bit luck or timing, but internet was still at its infancy.
Right.
We're talking about the Netscape time or the modem dial-up time. I mean, I think a lot of people watching, young people, don't even know what that is.
Right, right.
So I was taking some of that money, I was buying Bruce Lee collectibles, because I'm a Bruce Lee fan, from Hong Kong, and flipping them on eBay. And that's how I kind of got into the whole internet business.
Online world.
World. And we are talking, I was selling stuff on bulletin board, right? And was selling, like, my first book, I was selling it on there.
So you had the copywriting experience, the online experience, and now it starts to sort of
because at the time,
mesh together.
No one, copy is still just communication, right? It's salesmanship in print. At the time, online people, they don't quite understand how the whole work. We write copy, ads, and it's just working, right? And I went into eBay. I was making money. I was making money through ClickBank. I had multiple best-selling products on ClickBank, like digital products. I was doing affiliate marketing. I'm telling you, I was making, as a young guy, a ridiculous amount of money. I've never seen so much money in my life, right?
Yeah.
My friends and I, we would go out for a night, go out for dinner. It would drop like $3K on a night. And I don't.
No problem.
No problem. I don't even fucking drink.
Yeah.
I don't fucking drink. I don't pick up the tab. And it just, I've never seen so much money. And it was getting a new car every year, a sport car. It's crazy.
What was the mindset shift that you noticed, right? Like if you can go back to that time period where money was flowing versus when money wasn't, what was the bottom line common denominator of difference that you would say between when things were working financially and when things weren't? Somebody out there listening, what's that one mindset shift? I'm sure there's many, but what would you say is the most important wealth mindset shift that needs to happen?
I think for most entrepreneurs, or most people, they overestimate their importance in terms of success. So I think let's take racing horses, for example. The jockey is important, but the horse is probably more important. So I think very often when something is successful, entrepreneurs like, oh, because I'm so fucking good.
Right,
like
right.
I conquered the problems, I made it happen, and all this stuff. Now, as I'm more mature, I think finding the right opportunity is probably it's like 10 times more important.
So the vehicle.
The vehicle. And at the time, I picked the right vehicle. Because remember the 13 businesses? It's the wrong vehicle, I was the wrong person. But this time, that's why I don't believe the whole thing, you got to be at the right place at the right time. You have to be the right person at the right place at the right time. I was the right person. I had the skill. I was online. I had the suppliers, right? I was making money. So all this stuff, now my skills, I have a platform to exercise my talents and skills. And money was coming in. Like, how come it took me so much effort before to make $1,000?
Right.
And now, like, fucking just make that like
Yeah,
that.
you couldn't even stop the money coming.
Just like
now.
I couldn't stop. What changed?
Yeah.
Because I picked the right vehicle.
Do you remember that first time where you made an amount of money that like even blew your mind? Like, oh shit, this is possible? Do you remember a check that sticks out?
No, it's not a check. It's all this money coming in. And I wasn't thinking about it. I was just spending money. And I was 27, 27 years old. I looked at my bank account. I had $1 million in cash. Cash, not net worth, cash.
Liquid.
I was like, that's a lot of fucking money.
Right.
That's when I thought, this is a lot of fucking money, right?
And this is from copywriting and sales and affiliates, or how was the bulk of it made?
All internet. At the time, I had multiple internet businesses. And this is one thing to another. Because I was making money. I was blowing money, which is not the smart thing to do.
Right.
But I was just making so much money, and I would invest in other company, like starting other online businesses and all these things, right? And from there, when I hit that $1 million, like kind of the millionaire mark.
Right.
Well, a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm a millionaire." I'm not talking net worth, right?
Yeah.
Cash. That's what maybe I made it or something.
Yeah,
It feels like there's that milestone. It's an important milestone.
It's that first one where I'm in it. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I do have somebody now, right? And it changed the way I look at things, and actually, it's not very smart, but I retired for a couple of months.
Okay,
Because I thought, man, I made it.
Yeah.
I'll retire, and actually I took 2 months off. First month, I was just sitting on the beach, very quiet. Because then I thought that's what it is, right?
Right, yeah, that's the goal, yeah.
You're sitting on the beach, you do nothing.
And it's very interesting you say that, because I saw another interview where you were talking about how if you look at some of the wealthiest people in the world, their goals aren't to have, the laptop lifestyle or retire on the beach drinking a Corona. Their goals are to impact the world, to have, meaning and to serve people on a massive scale. Can you talk a little bit about how that mindset kind of evolved from where you were making a ton of money at that age to then go into consulting and stuff like that?
Well, when I would quote unquote retire at the age of 27, I was sitting on the beach. First, I thought this is the life. This is what I've been working so hard to get to. I'm telling you, if anyone has tried this, you just try to sit under the sun 7 days a week for every day for a month. You bored out of your mind. You get sunburned. This whole fucking thing is stupid, right?
Right.
And then next month two, I thought, okay, this is stupid. Let me try something else. So I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to watch a lot of movies, right? I love movies. I was renting movies. I was watching 6-7 movies a fucking day. I'm telling you, if you watch 6-7 movies every fucking day for a month, you don't like movies that much anymore.
Right.
Right? I was like, this is stupid.
Especially for an achiever that wants to go
you gotta understand from this to no one was calling me. I'm not talking to nobody. I said, I thought it would make me happy. I wasn't happy. So I talked to my mentor again. This time it's to Dan Pena. He just laughed.
And how did you meet Dan? How did you get
Well, at the
mentorship
time
from him?
remember the eBay, right? So I saw this book one day on eBay. I was just browsing around to look at some stuff. And I saw the title captivated me. It's called Your First 100 Million. I thought, what kind of fucking book is this? That's a pretty bossy title. As a copywriter,
right?
That's a good title, right? I click on it and I saw that the price was $400 US for a book. I thought to myself, who in the right mind would spend $400 on a fucking book? No fucking way. I click on the link and it has the first chapter in the listing. I read through the first chapter. Before you know it, I was the idiot that bought the book. Right? I spent the $400, I bought the book.
Yeah.
I read through the whole book. It had such a big impact on me. Because at the time I was already looking for the second mentor, because I was already experienced success, and Alan wasn't well, and I was looking for something more. And when I saw, Dan Penny, I call him Big Dan.
Right.
I saw Big Dan. It's like, this is the guy I want to learn from. I called the castle.
Just straight up.
I just called the castle, man.
How did you get the number?
It's in the book. Just call the castle.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, when I first called the castle, you got the gatekeeper. But I went through a lot of different things, and I went to the castle seminar, and that's how. And at the time, Big Dan wasn't as popular as today. It was. I remember when I went to the castle, it's 4 or 5 guys. I was one of them. He did it once a year. I think at the time he was maybe in semi-retirement, and that's again he's been my mentor now for more than 10 years.
And then Dan helped you transition into consulting.
No, the biggest thing I learned from Big Dan is how finance and business works. So he taught me that, of course, his QLA, quantum leap advantage mindset.
Right.
So how to look at things, how to think bigger. And he would always challenge me.
Can you give a quick gem that's been a powerful
I'll give you a perfect
takeaway?
example.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, I was, at the time before the 25-ish, 26, something like that. And I was making good money. I was making maybe $500,000, whatever, a year.
$500,000 a year?
$500,000 a year, something like that. And I would call up Big Dan and tell him, hey man, I'm pretty good, 20-some years old, making $500,000. But for any guys.
Right.
You feel pretty good about yourself, right? 20-some years old, I'm pretty smart, right? And especially after listening to his advice and make some changes. So I call him and talk, say, hey, so he asked me, how are you doing? So, oh man, doing this stuff, I'm doing all this stuff.
Right.
So how much money are you making now? About, half $500,000, right?
Right,
It was
yeah,
feeling
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good. Silence. So he said, so what the fuck are you, half a millionaire?
Yeah.
That's him. That's
Yeah.
the always, doesn't matter what I do. Every time I talk to him, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm doing, whatever compared to what he's done, is nothing.
He always gives you context of the bigger game.
Big again.
So then after you get the wake-up call from Dan, Big Dan.
Big Dan.
After you get the wake-up call from Big Dan, when do you shift your business model to
Where I'm doing
consulting to what you're doing now? Because how were you making $500,000 at the time? What was your business model then?
Well, it's internet. It was also consulting.
Gotcha.
It was also cooperating. I was doing multiple things, right? And so it changed a lot because my whole idea of what I do and how I work, let's me fast forward at the age of 27, right? So then the advice I got from Big Dan was like, hey, Dan, now you can go back and start another business. And I said, no fucking way. I don't want to start another business.
Right.
I don't want to do that.
Right.
And he said, this time, do it from a different place. Do it from a place of strength and abundance.
Key.
You don't need to start a business to make it. You made it. You're pretty good. Now start a business of build it around something you really want to do and around your strength. And I did. From there, I was investing in different companies and all kinds of business deals, and I grew and grew. And so imagine from that 7-figure level, and by the age of 30 years old, like I was a multi-millionaire. But there was, when I hit 30 years old, something changed in me. Because the first 10 years of my life, from let's say 20 to 30 years old, I was about money. I was about achievement. I was about there's no win-win. There's only win-lose. Here, all the chips, I want to grab all the chips. I want to grab as much chips as possible. And because also, remember my incident that I didn't have a father figure? So Alan and Big Dan can't become my father figure.
Right, yeah.
But there's a problem. Both my mom and dad, their personality is the opposite of Big Dan. Big Dan is this like sergeant, ruthless businessman. That's who he is.
Right.
And I found that I tried to be him, and it's not me. It's not who I am.
Right.
And I wasn't happy. So I hit 30 years old. One day I wake up. Tears were coming down my cheek. Didn't know why. I was talking to my wife. My wife's like, what's going on, right? I said, I don't know. I've never had this feeling. It's like this internal, it's like a depression.
Right.
Came from nowhere. I've never had this feeling before. I've never been depressed. So this feeling and this depression that just hit me. I said, I don't know what's going on. And that's when I went on a little bit of journey, more like a spiritual journey. When I wanted to find out, okay, maybe what I've done in the first 10 years, something was missing. This formula doesn't quite work. Kind of like what Tony Robbins talks about.
Success without fulfillment is
I was
failure.
at that point. I was trying to win the contest for the track for fulfillment, running on a track of achievement. It does not work.
Yeah.
From then on, everything I do, and I study a lot of different work, I go back to my business and I change everything. I'll give you a perfect example. Before 30 years old, every single business I have, I'm 100% shareholder. I have no partners.
No equity given out to
Nothing,
anywhere else.
zero.
Yeah.
After 30 years old, every single business I have, everything is partnership. I changed the way I operate.
What's your best advice when finding partners to work with?
I think you guys have to share the same values. You guys have to want to do it beyond than just make a few bucks. You have to say both have a mission, they want to do this, they want to do some epic, cool things. Not just, hey man, I want to make some money, you want to make some money. It doesn't work. Because when things get tough, that doesn't work.
Yeah, that motivation doesn't last through the tough times.
And also when money is coming in, greed kicks in, that doesn't work either. But if like a couple people, they want to do some epic, good stuff, and you've got a good team, money would be there. Money comes. Money is a byproduct of that. When the two people share the same value, they have skills that complement with each other, and they also both have same work ethics, same vision, then you got something that's very, very good. Integrity, obviously, is very, very key. And also partner with people who are not desperate.
Yes.
So if you're very successful, don't partner with someone who's like desperate for money. Over the years, every single deal that I got fucked over is by people who are desperate and stab me in the back.
And you just took a chance on them because you felt like, why not roll the dice kind of.
But successful people, they don't need to do that. Because this deal, it works or not, they're still okay. those are the best partnerships, right? And I found that's the case.
Let's talk a little bit too about your consulting, because I know you're world renowned for what you've done in consulting.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your business model and what you advise other people who maybe have their own consulting practices or coaching practices in terms of providing premium value and charging high ticket prices without any of the limiting beliefs of, oh, I can't do that, what are the odds? Can you talk a little bit about how you've structured your business?
It's funny you brought that up, because people might think they see me as a consultant.
Right.
But really, like, this is how much I make. I make this much from consulting.
Oh, okay.
That's not the main source of my income. Yeah, a lot of my businesses, I just don't talk about it.
Right.
Because I don't feel that the need to talk about
Right.
it. But it's a small part of what I do. Certain companies I consult a little bit. Even now, I mean, I just turned down a couple pretty big consulting gigs just because I'm now have less time to do them.
Right.
Busier and busier, right? So to answer your question, it goes back to your self-worth. I'll give you a very simple formula. You want to charge more money to consultants, supply and demand. You want to drive up your demand, and you want to restrict the supply. So let's say if I'm a consultant, a service provider, coach, whatever I do, I say to the world, hey, you know what? Call me anytime. I'm always available, right? I can take on as many clients as I want.
Right.
My value, it's lower in what the marketplace sees. On the other hand, hey, you know what? I'm very much in demand. I'm very busy. I only take on maybe selective 2, 3 clients, 5 clients a year. I charge a lot of money. So you drive up the demand, but then you restrict your supply. Now suddenly you become more valuable. Providing the same service. When people pay you more money, they value what you do more, right? Because whatever you pay attention.
So the more people pay, the more they pay
I'm
attention.
sure for production, you've experienced doing work for clients on the cheap,
Yes.
right? And they're
Yes.
pain in the ass.
Yes.
They're difficult to deal with. You go the extra mile, they're still not happy.
It's true.
Versus the clients who pay you the most amount of money,
Right.
big chunk of money, they are easy to deal with.
It's true. In my production business and in my coaching business,
Same.
clients that I used to charge 1,000 to versus I charge 10,000 to, the 10,000 ones follow through. They're assertive. They're on top of it. And the other ones are always looking for a deal or always trying
Give me
to
a discount.
Yeah. And that translates to their customers and their business and so on and so forth. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I believe in my philosophy, sell to players with money. Sell to people who get it, deal with successful people. It's much, much easier. And it's an easier relationship too.
And I love what you say too about you're not in the business of turning losers into winners. You're in the business of helping winners win more.
Yeah, because they got it already. I don't need to justify. Like when I charge someone, or even someone charge me, that they are not looking for, just like when someone pay me, like you look at the amount of charge compared to the time. I can tell you that my consulting clients, the one who pay me the most amount of money, I spend the least amount of time with.
Right. Yeah.
Because they're fucking busy.
Yeah, and they get to the point when they need help, they go straight for
they're
the
not
source.
looking, hey, Dan, I want to talk to you once a week. I want to talk. No, they're working on something for a couple of months. They come to me with whatever they're working on. I give them some strategy, give them big picture. They go, that's it.
They execute.
They're not looking for time. Time is not important. It's that few elegant ideas.
Of results.
The results.
Yes.
Right?
And it's really interesting because I know you shared too that with your clients that it's not like a once a week or 1 hour a week. It's whenever, anytime, but it's focused on results.
And
so they pay you a retainer and to have access to you anytime.
Access. And it's not about, I tell them it's not about time. Sometimes, let's say whatever problem you have. I said, if I could solve your problem in 20 minutes, do you want me to spend 20 hours on it? Maybe I could solve your problem with one phone call, with the contact I have. Let's say whatever goal, let's say financial goal. You want to make X amount of dollars. Okay. If I have a contact here, I know that you guys can work together and work a deal, and that could get you the results in a short period of time. Do you want that, or do you prefer me to drag on long and long, so I can you feel like you're getting your money's worth?
Right.
And I always tell them which one you prefer. I say, oh no, we want speed.
Yeah.
I said, that's cool. Then I'll give you speed, right?
And it's true because another example that I've heard similar to that, I forget if it was you who mentioned it, but they said it's like a surgery, right? Say you pay $40,000 for surgery. Yes. Do you care if the surgery is 10 hours or 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
Or do you just want to get it over with?
You get over with, right?
It's
a result. Especially people at high level, and when they're paying that kind of money, it's result oriented. Solve my problem quickly. That's the value.
That's powerful,
right?
Man. So let me ask you this. As you look back, reflecting on your life, the tough times, the trials, the tribulations, what would the Dan today say to the young Dan who was trying to find his way and going through his failures and trying out, this and that the Dan today, the multimillionaire that you are today, looking at that young man with a dream, what would be your best advice to the young Dan? Knowing what you know now, what would be your advice to that young Dan?
I think everybody has to go through this. And I think as I share this, you might not get it yet because you're not there. But I would look back and I would say, you know what, success is getting what you want, but significance is giving what you got. You have to go through the stage. You have to learn how to become successful. Yes, I know, I get it. Get the car, get the house, get all that stuff.
Right.
But when you do get there, you realize there's more to life. Because at the end of the day, how many cars can you drive? Right? How many beds can you sleep on? It's one house, it's one car, it's two cars. After a while, those things don't mean a lot. What is meaningful is you'll be able to do what you like to do. And success to me is very, like, the definition is very simple. I think it is be able to have a predetermined plan, whatever the plan is, predetermined plan, executing the plan successfully over a long period of time, and having fun doing it.
Enjoying the process.
If you can do that, I think you're very successful. So it's not so much a destination, it's a journey. So don't wait till, when I make that fucking $1 million, I'll be happy, I'll be successful. Yeah. No, chances are if you're not happy along the way, you're not going to enjoy the $1 million.
Not going to last. Or if you get there, you'll chill out.
Yeah, like nowadays, I don't even think about like money and, I'm going to make it's this much, I'm going to make that much. But when you don't focus on that, money's a funny thing. Money goes to people who doesn't need it. Money goes to people who knows how to multiply it.
Right.
When you're not chasing money, money just comes. Like, it's crazy.
What about to people listening? Because I really want to be in touch with the audience, to people listening and maybe trying to find clarity. What would be your best advice to people who are trying to find clarity or maybe find their thing or maybe enhance their business idea? What have you learned along your journey of wealth and fulfillment to people out there who want to get some clarity? What would be your best advice to people out there looking to, sort of sharpen that? Or do you think they sort of need to go through failures and just
No.
into the walls
I think
along the way?
To some degree they do, but what works for me was I have my mentor. It's just you got to find that someone that who you resonate with, who you respect. That to me it may not be the answer for everybody, but that was the answer for me. Yeah, you could watch 100 YouTube videos.
Right.
You could listen to 100 podcasts. You find that how come you actually have less clarity compared to before you even watch all this shit.
Right. Yeah.
So you need, like, knowledge is not wisdom, right? I always say knowledge is data. Is knowing all these things you could possibly do. Wisdom is knowing which one is bullshit and just do this. You need to do this. And chances are, if you could get there by yourself, you'll already be there.
Powerful, yeah.
Your conscious level, your understanding got you to this point, this far. But if you have someone who is just from a distance, someone who trusts, who believe in you, and can say, hey, don't do this. Have you seen this? Have you looked at this? No. It changes everything.
Opens up a whole new possibility.
It's a possibility, right? And you want to find someone like a true mentor, not a fake mentor.
Right.
A true mentor who cares about your success, a mentor who you could talk to, just like one-on-one interaction, and a mentor who's where you want to be in your dreams.
Right, who's in it.
Who's in, not like done it 10 years ago, who's in it, who's doing it, is still like been there and done that, continues to do it. You can find that person, do whatever the hell you could to learn from that, whoever that person is. But if you find that person, oh man, that's when I find my mentor, I went all in. It was not, let me think about it. No, I went all in, whatever it takes. I don't care if I have to pay. I don't care if I have to work. I don't care if I have to volunteer. I don't care, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
That changed my life.
Powerful.
That changed my life.
And then one thing I want to ask is, because you brought up your wife a few times during the interview, how important do you find that a significant other is to your mindset, your business, your life? How important is that to people out there?
I think if you don't have that person, the spouse or the partner that's supportive in your life, it's going to be very, very difficult for you on your journey. So on my YouTube, I talk about my wife and I have a little show called Alpha Man, Smart Woman, and we have a saying: behind every successful man is a smarter woman.
True.
And also someone to share with, right? That when we travel together, my wife and I were very fortunate because we work together. So it's not like, oh, she stay at home and I work. I travel with her, I go to conference with her.
Right, yeah. You guys have the same mission, same focus.
And she's kind of the boss, really, right? She knows, and I talk to her about everything. So she knows every single client I have, every single business deal that I'm doing, every single dollar that comes, she knows all that. So it's very, very transparent. So we're not just talking about like how's your day. No, we have very, very deep conversation. And I learn a lot, and she always gives me that perspective. Because when you get to the point when you're very successful, it's not easy for people to tell you what to do, right?
Right, yeah.
Right? People around you.
You have a lot of yes men around you.
A lot of yes men, like, but my wife is like, no, that's a stupid idea, right? It's just like, that's a dumb idea. I said, all right.
Because you're just dead to her.
All right, I remember, quick story, you'll wrap this up. I remember the first time I was on TEDx, TEDx Stanley Park. Right, I just spoke to 2,000 people. You gotta understand,
right?
2,000 people impacting lives, right? Finished in my red suit, went home, got changed. It's like I was like on top of the world, right?
Right.
My wife saying, "Dan, take the trash out." I said, "You kidding me?"
Yeah.
I just talked to 2,000 people.
Yeah, changed lives.
10x. Hello, right? Hello, you saw how, right? Yeah. Take out the trash. I said, okay, right? And I took out the trash. And that was it keeps you humble, right? And I love that.
And then last question before we wrap up, and we usually play a little game at the end, but last question is, for people who've heard your story and they're inspired by it in their own life, they're looking to take it to that next level. I know we sort of asked for a little bit of your wisdom from different areas of life, but being on this side of the fence to those dreamers that aspire to be, where you are and beyond, what would be a new piece of advice, or maybe something you haven't shared before that you find to be an important or integral part to people along their own journey?
Goes back to the mentoring. Instead of trying to learn from all these different people, find one person and then stick with that. Because I like to use the martial metaphor. Imagine you want to learn martial art. What if you go to, let's say this week, you go to a karate class, next week you go to a boxing class, next week, the week after you go to a taekwondo class, and then the week after go to a Krav Maga class. You never get good at anything, right? I think the purpose of learning is mastery. If you find the right mentor, and the right mentor to me is like, you look at the guy and you say, that's a guy I could spend 10 years learning from. That I would still so much to learn. That's the right guy. And when you find that guy, just stick with it. Don't have that shiny object syndrome. Oh, that sounds good. That guy sounds pretty good. You never get good at anything.
Jack of all trades, master at none.
It's none. But you found the right person, you don't need a lot. If the guy is truly good, have depth, have wisdom, that one person can help you achieve all your goals.
Yeah, become a master.
And as you are growing, chances are your mentor is growing too. If your mentor is good, active, right? So you're like, get to hear, but your mentor is growing too, right? And that's why I take pride. I'm the guy that usually when anyone that goes through everybody else, and they finally found me. When they found me, my guys, talk to any one of them, they don't leave. They've been with me 2, 3, 5, 6 years. They don't leave.
They don't call you Dan Lak for nothing.
You call me Sifu, right?
Yep, Sifu.
You call me Sifu, right?
I love that. Yeah. Okay, and then before we wrap up, we play a game called First Things First. Okay. So it's a super quick game. Okay. Basically how it works, we play it with Grant Cardone and Elena. Sure. I know you enjoyed that interview. Yes. Basically how it works is I'm going to say a word or phrase. I'm just going to list off 10, and then you tell me the first word or phrase that comes to mind.
Sure.
In relation to that thing. Okay, ready? Yeah. So first word is going to be failure.
Fast.
Impact.
World.
Money.
Vehicle.
Lessons.
Learned.
Mentors.
Necessity.
Success.
Illusion.
Dreams.
Pursue.
Passion.
Purpose.
Confidence.
Develop.
And then the last one, you ready?
Yeah.
Dan Lak's legacy.
None.
Elaborate on that.
I think people talk about the legacy that, after I want to impact a lot of people. I have this idea I can impact a lot of people. At the same time, I also know in the cosmos of the universe, I'm a dust. So what I do is very important. At the same time, it's not very important. So I don't have such a big ego and say I'm gonna be the Steve Jobs. I'm gonna impact the world. You know what? Even Steve Jobs is nothing but a dust in the universe. So I want to, with the present time that I have, want to impact a lot of people. But at the same time, I don't take it so seriously and say, yeah, because after, you know what, 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 years, 200 years, will people still remember who I am? Probably not. So I focus on right now who I can impact, the emotion that I could get back from people, the satisfaction, the fulfillment, knowing I've impacted their life in some way. That's cool.
Oh, man. Well, thank you so much, Dan. You've definitely made a big impact today.
Thank you.
You guys can check out more of Dan's